Open your eyes, chosen soul. Not your physical eyes, those have been deceived before, but your inner eyes, the ones that see through faith, through fire, through the fog of this world. This moment isn't random. This message isn't entertainment. This is your wake-up call. And heaven has gone silent to amplify one sound, the cry of your soul colliding with divine truth. You were not scrolling by accident. You were not drifting when you found this. You were led here. Hand-picked. Drawn in by the gravitational pull of divine purpose. And now you stand on sacred ground, unaware of how close you are to the edge of a breakthrough. Do you feel it, that tension in your chest? That whisper that won't leave you alone? That quiet voice, too stubborn to be silenced, saying, "This is for you." God has been trying to get your attention, not to punish, but to awaken. You've been distracted by the noise of life, the bills, the pressure, the rejection, the betrayal. You've tried to stay strong, to act like everything's okay, but deep within, your soul has been crying out, there has to be more than this. And God answers today, there is. But you won't find it in the places you've been searching. You won't find it in applause, approval, or accolades. You won't find it in more money, another relationship, or chasing a dream that wasn't birthed in prayer. The ache in your heart isn't a flaw, it's a divine signal. It's your soul recognizing its starvation for eternal purpose. You're not here to survive. You're here to reign. You've been called. Marked. Set apart. There is a heavenly assignment wrapped around your name, sealed in the breath of God, waiting for your yes. Not a casual yes, but a surrendering one. A trembling, holy yes that unlocks everything. But before you can walk into it, something must die, your dependence on what this world told you mattered. Let's confront the truth now. No more spiritual sleepwalking. You've been chasing things that were never supposed to define you. Fame. Success. That relationship you knew was a distraction. The job that pays you but poisons your peace. The people who clap for you in public but wound you in secret. God is calling you out of the crowd. Out of the chaos. Out of the counterfeit. He's not here to decorate your life. He's here to rebuild it because heaven never forgot. You are not average. You are not invisible. You are not behind. You are not broken beyond repair. You are the storm the enemy hoped to stop before it could rise. That anxiety. That delay. That betrayal. It wasn't just random, it was strategic. Because darkness saw your light before you did. And it's terrified of what happens if you finally believe what God says about you. Before we go deeper, do this, pause. Let this moment breathe. Acknowledge. Say this aloud, I am ready. Mark this moment. Comment 777 as a declaration that you are stepping into what heaven has reserved for you. This isn't ritual. It's a prophetic agreement. God honors bold faith. And right now, you are aligning yourself with the current of heaven's design. You've been searching for truth, but it's been searching for you. And now it has found you. Here's the truth the enemy hoped you'd never hear, you were made for fire. Not to be burned, but to blaze. To be the voice in your family who breaks generational curses. To be the one who doesn't just survive storms but commands them to stillness. To be the reminder that God still moves in modern times. That miracles weren't just for Moses or Elijah, they are for those bold enough to believe right now. What have you been giving your time to that isn't growing your spirit? What noise have you tolerated that's been muting the voice of God? Look around. The enemy won't always show up with horns and fire. Sometimes he looks like convenience. Sometimes he looks like a good opportunity that drains your soul. Sometimes he looks like a person who affirms your weakness instead of calling out your destiny. It's time to unplug. Not from life, but from the lies. Chosen one, some people will not understand this next season. That's okay. They weren't meant to. Some relationships were temporary scaffolding, not eternal structure. Let go. You can't build with people who mock your blueprint. And you cannot walk with those who resist your healing. This fire will expose. It will refine. It will reveal hidden strengths and buried traumas. But above all, it will illuminate the path God has been preparing in secret. And here's what I need you to hear: your breakthrough will come the moment you decide to stop playing small. Look at the stories that changed history. Moses stuttered. David was overlooked. Esther was afraid. Peter denied. Paul was a murderer. But all of them shared this one thing: they obeyed when it mattered most. And now it's your turn. The scroll of your life is being unrolled. The heavens are leaning in. And the next word is waiting for your yes. There's a hidden place where warriors are made, not praised. Where the crowds disappear and only the voice of God remains. That place is the wilderness. Chosen one, if you've been feeling alone, if you've been walking through a season of silence, rejection, confusion, or delay, this part is for you. Because the wilderness isn't punishment. It's preparation. And the silence, it's sacred. You thought you were forgotten, didn't you? You saw others being celebrated, elevated, promoted, while you stood in the shadows wondering why God seemed so quiet. But what if I told you the silence was His strategy? The wilderness wasn't meant to kill you. It was meant to kill what was killing you: pride, fear, dependency on people, need for validation. God was never ignoring you. He was hiding you until the right time. Because real glory is never rushed. And chosen ones don't emerge, they are unveiled. Before the miracles. Before the crowds. Before the cross. He was led into the wilderness. Yes, even the Son of God had to pass through the dry place before walking in power. Why? Because if the enemy can't destroy your calling, he'll try to distract it. That's why your wilderness has been loud. The temptations. The battles. The isolation. It was never a sign of failure, it was a sign that power was near. Satan doesn't waste his energy on people with no assignment. The enemy came for you so violently because your destiny carries weight. The tears you cried in private. Heaven recorded every one. The nights you held your chest, praying for answers while everyone else slept. God was closer than your breath. You weren't abandoned, you were being shaped. And now, something is shifting. The winds in the Spirit are changing direction. What felt like delay is about to turn into a sudden move of God. But before the breakthrough, comes the decision: will you trust Him even when you don't understand Him? There's a version of you that's more fearless, more focused, more faithful. But it only emerges under pressure. The wilderness didn't take your purpose, it uncovered it. The pain didn't remove your calling, it purified it. That's why you've been misunderstood. That's why people couldn't see the fire in you. Because God was building it in secret. You're not being punished. You're being promoted, but the process is disguised as pressure. Let that settle in your soul. You thought it was over, but God was setting the stage. You thought the curtain had closed, but heaven was just shifting the spotlight. The most powerful moments in the Bible came after the wilderness. Jesus came out of the desert in power. Joseph came out of prison into the palace. David came out of the cave wearing a crown. You are not the exception. You are the evidence. The evidence that when God calls someone, He prepares them, even if preparation looks like pain. Because you're closer than you think. The wilderness has tried to take your peace, your clarity, your joy. But what it couldn't take, was your anointing. And that anointing? It's about to make sense. Everything is about to align. But first, do not despise your dry place. Let it finish its work. Let it refine your faith. Let it build your endurance. And clarity is coming. In this very moment, God is beginning to show you why they left. Why the door closed. Why you couldn't stay in that place. Why you had to walk alone. Because what's ahead requires a version of you that doesn't flinch, doesn't settle, and doesn't apologize for being chosen. You're not here to blend in. You're here to shift atmospheres right before the breakthrough. Distractions will intensify. You'll be tempted to settle. To go back to what's familiar. To dim your light so others feel comfortable. Don't. If you go back now, you'll miss what's waiting just beyond the breaking. Push through. You didn't survive the wilderness to collapse before the promise. I will not abort what God is birthing in me. Say it again, I will not abort what God is birthing in me. That dream, that calling, that fire, it's not too late. You haven't missed it. The fact that you're still breathing means God is still building. And now, heaven is shifting into release mode. Chains will fall. Vision will ignite. And what was once buried will rise. But only if you choose to keep walking. You've come too far to stop here. Chosen one, your wilderness was necessary. But it's not your final destination. Let's keep walking. Chosen one, do you feel that trembling in your spirit? That subtle but unshakable stirring? That's not anxiety. That's not fear. That is the rumbling of awakening. Heaven is moving. And your spirit knows it before your mind can explain it. You've passed through the silence. You've survived the wilderness. And now, you're about to be revealed. Not to the world first. But to yourself. For years, you've been walking beneath your identity. You've been dimming your light to fit in. You've been second-guessing your discernment, your vision, your power. But those days are over. God is tearing off the veil. He's removing the labels others put on you. He's silencing the lies you believed for far too long. And now he's introducing you to the version of you that's been buried beneath trauma, religion, fear, and self-doubt. A version that carries glory. Authority. Healing. A voice that shifts rooms. A presence that unsettles darkness without speaking a word. Not now. Not after this. The old you was safe. Predictable. Quiet. But the awakened you? You are dangerous to darkness. Because you've discovered the secret, God lives in you. This isn't religion. This is revelation. You are a walking temple of fire. You are a living, breathing move of God. You carry heaven in your lungs. And the moment you believe that, your atmosphere will start to respond. You feel deeply. You see things before they happen. You sense when something is off even when no one else does. That's not paranoia, it's prophetic. God didn't make you sensitive to punish you. He made you discerning to protect you. But until now, you've carried that discernment like a burden. You've silenced yourself to keep the peace. No more. Your silence has expired. This is the season to speak, to act, to move. Because what you carry is not for decoration, it's for activation. Hear this clearly, your voice is a weapon. Your story is a sword. Your obedience will open prison doors for others. This awakening is not just about your elevation, it's about someone else's liberation. The enemy attacked you so violently because he saw the thousands you would set free. That's why hell invested so much in stopping you. But what hell didn't see coming was this: you chose to rise anyway. And now, the gates of hell will pay for what they did to you. Not through revenge, but through revival. Through your very existence, captives will be loosed. Hearts will be healed. Destinies will be unlocked. Positioned to be a light in dark places. To speak when others are silent. To stand when others bow to fear. You're not rising to make a name. You're rising to reveal His. And when people see your transformation, they won't just admire you. They'll be forced to confront the God who raised you. This is revival, disguised as your story chosen one. You're about to walk into rooms and shift the entire frequency. People won't be able to explain it, but they'll feel it. Because you carry something holy. Something weighty. Something divine. And no, you don't need credentials or validation from man. You don't need a title. You don't need permission. You were validated in the secret place. You were commissioned in the wilderness. And now, you are being released. The time for playing small is over. You are not being called to comfort. You're being called to confront. Confront injustice. Confront cycles. Confront the silence that allowed oppression to thrive. Confront the fear that's been ruling your family for generations. You were not born to watch history, you were born to write it. And fire is coming. Everything you thought was dead in you, your dream, your boldness, your voice, God is resurrecting it now. But not for your glory. For His. He's breathing on your dry bones. He's awakening your vision. He's igniting your assignment. You're not just a vessel. You're a carrier of movement. The fire in me is not for show. It's for war. Say it. Believe it. Walk in it. The fire in you is not to keep you warm, it's to burn down strongholds. And now. Now the heavens declare, awaken, child of glory. Shake the dust off your destiny. Arise. Because what you carry is holy. And what you're about to walk into will change everything. Chosen one, hear this with a sober spirit, elevation requires separation. What God is awakening in you is sacred. It's weighty. It's costly. And not everyone who has walked with you can walk with you into what's coming next. This isn't personal. It's prophetic. There is a shedding happening in the spirit right now. Not because God is cruel, but because your next season is too holy to be contaminated. Not everyone can survive the altitude of your assignment. Some connections were only meant for your past. Some voices were sent to distract, not disciple. Some hearts were never aligned with your mission, they were just convenient passengers during your preparation. And now, the shaking is beginning. People are falling away. Conversations are drying up. Support is fading. Familiarity feels foreign. Let it happen. This is divine separation, not rejection. This is protection, not punishment. God said, leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you. Why? Because the promise could not manifest until Abraham walked away from what was familiar. If Abraham stayed, he would have settled. If you stay attached to what God is trying to separate you from, you'll delay your destiny. God will never elevate you in a crowd He didn't ordain. They loved the version of you that didn't know your worth. The version that was quiet, insecure, always available, always apologizing. But now that you're walking in power, now that you've stopped settling, they feel threatened. Let them feel it. You don't owe anyone your obedience to God. And the moment you stop explaining your anointing to those who never honored it, you'll start walking in the freedom you were always meant to carry. That's the cost. The loneliness you feel right now. It's not abandonment. It's alignment. God is clearing the air around you because what's about to descend upon your life cannot land in chaos. You're not being excluded. You're being reserved. Just like fine wine is aged in hidden places, your calling is being matured in solitude. Chosen one, stop begging people to stay who were only meant to be scaffolding. The foundation is set. Let the unnecessary fall away. Hebrews 12 verse 1 says, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. And let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. Do you feel that? There's a race marked for you. A race that can't be run while dragging the weight of people-pleasing, guilt, or dead relationships. This separation isn't to isolate you. It's to consecrate you. Your thinking must shift. Your boundaries must strengthen. Your focus must sharpen. The vision God has placed in you requires new atmosphere, new surroundings, and yes, even new voices. Some of the people you thought would be with you forever were only assigned to the first chapter. Let God turn the page. Stop rereading what God is trying to conclude. It's easy to confuse loyalty with bondage. But obedience will always cost you comfort. If Jesus had tried to take all the disciples up the Mount of Transfiguration, they wouldn't have been ready. Only Peter, James, and John could go. Not because the others were bad, but because they weren't called to witness the glory at that height. Elevation is selective. So if you're losing people, don't panic. You're not being abandoned. You're being refined. Not just friendships, but divine partnerships. People who see the fire in you and don't try to extinguish it. People who don't compete with your calling but cover it in prayer. Wait for them. Don't settle just to fill silence. Sometimes God leaves the space empty so you don't replace His plan with your preference. I release what was to make room for what will be. Say it aloud. Speak it into your atmosphere. Write it on your mirror. I release what was to make room for what will be. Because where God is taking you, there is no room for excess weight, expired relationships, or ego. This next level is reserved for the pure in heart. The surrendered. The focused. The firewalkers. Chosen one, separation hurts. But what's on the other side of this pain is glory beyond imagination. So if it's falling apart, if it's walking away, if it's suddenly silent, don't resist. Rejoice. God is pruning because you're about to bear fruit. Chosen one, the wait is over. The battle has been fierce. The testing has been long. The pruning has been painful. But now, heaven is moving. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Now. The divine clock has struck your moment. And all of heaven is aligned around this single declaration over your life: it is time. A divine release is at hand. The gates are opening. The chains are breaking. The assignments are shifting. And the oil that's been pressed out of your pain is now about to flow. You didn't endure for nothing. You didn't pray through tears for nothing. You didn't walk through fire just to smell like smoke. You are being released with power. God is launching you into everything that has been prepared behind the scenes. This is what the silence was for. This is what the wilderness was shaping. This is what the separation was protecting. And now, with nothing holding you back, you rise. Heaven is no longer whispering, it's roaring. The angels assigned to your destiny have been activated. And now, chosen one, the doors you once begged to open will open because of your presence. Not because of your name, but because of the oil on your life. Because God wasn't just preparing the blessing, He was preparing you to carry it. He was making sure your character could carry the weight of your calling. He was ensuring that the blessing wouldn't crush you. He delayed it so that when it arrived, it wouldn't become an idol. It wouldn't replace Him. It would glorify Him. The betrayal, the rejection, the closed doors, they weren't the enemy winning. They were God filtering your path. You didn't lose those things. Heaven removed them. Because what's about to be released into your life is too holy to share space with anything impure. God is fulfilling promises that seemed forgotten. Prophetic words that once sounded like dreams are now becoming testimonies. The vision is coming into view. The thing you thought would take 5 more years. God is accelerating. Sudden doors. Unexplainable favor. Divine resources from unexpected places. You won't have to chase. You won't have to beg. The blessing will recognize you. Because God is breathing on your name. You won't self-sabotage. You won't question if you're worthy. You won't shrink. Because the wilderness matured you. The separation sharpened you. The fire refined you. Now, you walk as one who knows. Knows who you are. Knows who your God is. Knows that your steps are divinely ordered. This is my divine release. I will not miss it. I will not waste it. I will walk in it. Say it aloud until your atmosphere agrees. This is my divine release. You've waited long enough. Now it's time to receive. It's for the people waiting on the other side of your obedience. Your healing will heal others. Your breakthrough will inspire nations. Your surrender will unlock generations. You are not being released into comfort. You are being released into legacy. Don't go back to old cycles, old patterns, old environments. This release comes with responsibility. And the way you steward this moment will determine what multiplies in your life. You've been trusted with oil. Guard it. Use it. Pour it where God tells you to. The time for waiting is over. The time for hiding is over. The time for second-guessing is over. Heaven has released the green light. What you prayed for in secret, God will reward in public. What you believed for in faith, you will hold in your hands. What you hoped for with trembling, you will now carry with fire. The scroll has been unsealed. The gates have opened. The heavens have spoken. And it is done. Chosen one, step into your divine release. With boldness. With fire. With full faith. Heaven is watching. Angels are moving. And the world is about to witness what God placed inside you all along.